everybody. Today, I am very excited and honored to be doing this leadership conversation series. I am joined today by Jason Oxman, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer for Information Technology Industry Council. How are you doing, Jason?
I'm well, Joyce, and I hope you are as well. And thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, this is great. I'm really excited. So I'm going to just kick this off with some introductions. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Joyce Weru. I am the Executive Leadership Coach at Rise Above Coaching. I'm also the founder there. And as I said, I'm very excited because we do have Jason Oxman, who is the president again of and a chief CEO of Information Technology Industry, which is a global trade association for the tech sector, representing nearly 70 of the world's most innovative companies. And Jason will tell us more about ITI. Jason is amazing. He brings over 20 years of experience as a global recognized leader in the technology advocacy and serves as a leading representative of the tech industry, especially during the significant time for this public industry. I'm not going to make any assumptions, Jason, but I know you will tell us more about it. And then under Jason's leadership, ITI has continued to lead the industry in advancing key policies to promote innovation worldwide. And Jason has also overseen the expansion of his own team within ITI in order to be able to serve a lot of its members globally. Before joining ITI, Jason was also a CEO of ETA. Jason began his legal career at Maine Supreme Court and is also a former broadcast journalist. He has received his master's and JD from Boston University, and Jason currently lives in Virginia with his family. So Jason, I have been doing this conversation series with a lot of readers just to truly honor the remarkable work of how they have been so instrumental at anchoring their organizations and moving them forward, but at the same time also taking care of the stakeholders, and in your case, your members, its employees, and also, of course, your own family, because a lot of us are working from home now. And everything with COVID-19, the global pandemic, everything seems to be unfolding so quickly. And then organizations have really found themselves in this, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous state due to the pandemic. So Jason, as we kick it off, maybe you could start by maybe introducing ITI and its mission and how you guys have been keeping up with promoting that innovation worldwide in this current environment.
Sure. So ITI, as you noted, is the global trade association of the technology industry. Our member companies are the world's largest and most innovative technology companies. And our job at ITI is to represent their interests before governments around the world, to advance their policy initiatives, and to help them grow their business. So the ITI team of 50 professionals around the world has been operating, as you noted, in a remote environment for the past 8 weeks, continuing to provide world-class advocacy on behalf of our members. ITI is a 104-year-old organization, so we've been through quite a lot, and we have the ability and the flexibility and, most importantly, a terrific team of professionals who are able to serve the policy needs and the business needs of our member companies in this challenging time.
Wow. I could probably just imagine how busy it's been for you all. And I'm sure you're doing a great job with the team. Jason, one of the quotes that I really, really love is, if you want to truly understand something, it's a quote by Carl Lewin. And if you really want to understand something, you have to try to change it. So, what has been some of the lessons that you have learned during this crisis?
Well, first and foremost, the most important thing that we're focused on at ITI is the health and safety of our employees. Our team is most important to us, and protecting them in a time of a global health pandemic is incredibly important. So change that we have initiated and did so in a period of about 24 hours, about 8 weeks ago, was to convert our entire global operation to remote work, to allow all of our employees to work from home. And what that's meant for us is it allows us to focus on the safety and health of our employees while continuing to provide invaluable service to our member companies. What I've learned from this process is simply a confirmation that we had the most terrific, talented, and capable group of professionals working for us here at ITI. You know, my job as CEO is to enable the team to do their work and to make sure that any obstacles they have to doing their work are removed, that they have all the resources, the tools that they need to accomplish what they need to do. And working remotely means they have to have the technology, the flexibility, the understanding that life is difficult when you're working from home, and that in many cases, there's even more work to do than there was in the office. But we need to maintain that spirit of collaboration and support the team while we're working remotely. So that's my biggest takeaway from this, is when you have a terrific team of professionals and great people, if you continue to empower them, give them the resources they need, and help them adapt to the new normal of working remotely, that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, and I really love some of the things that you touched on, where you're discussing that collaboration has not stopped, you know, and the acknowledgement, obviously, for, you know, the people behind, you know, who are keeping everything going, who are your staff. So, and you know, you also said the flexibility. I think with this, with everything that's going on, that is so core for now. It's being able to, in order for you to maybe move forward and continue to serve everybody else, then you have to be able to be flexible. So that is actually really amazing. So, you know, from that perspective, what do you think some of the things that leaders must do at this time, especially like for the technology industry? You know, they've probably been in the front line of this pandemic industry. You know, so what are some of the, and I'm sorry, maybe this is another question, what is some of the opportunities here as we move forward into this new normal?
So the opportunity is really to reflect the new remote work environment in a way that is putting employees first and that recognizes that some things have to change going forward. I think a lot of things are going to change permanently as a result of the experience of the pandemic, and remote work is one of those areas. We've certainly seen employees concerned about a return to work. Physical offices are starting to open up around the country. And one question that we ask, since, as I noted before, our primary focus is on the health and safety of our employees, are there employees who can continue to work remotely very effectively even after physical offices open up? And in the case of ITI, the answer is absolutely yes. There are some positions at ITI, some areas of focus that are very effectively conducted remotely. Some things require face-to-face interaction, and in some cases, people will have to return to physical offices at some point. But we have shown that we can be invaluable to our member companies, our customers, our clients in a remote environment. And I don't expect there's any reason that we won't continue to show that value. So that's one big takeaway for me, is that given the technology tools that our member companies make available, allowing us all to work remotely, and given that you can focus on employees and well-being and their health while still allowing them to get done what they need to do their jobs, that's going to be a lasting takeaway.
Yeah, that's actually really great. And I mean, Jason, you've done this for 20 years, you know, worked with the tech companies and advocacy, and especially, as you mentioned, not just here, but globally, because this has been something that everybody's experiencing around the world. You know, and having done this for 20 years and having been able to hear the input of all your members and everything they're bringing, are there any self-awareness? Is there self-awareness that you as a leader have or personally, or even as your leader, have really has awoken for you?
Yeah, I think you know, the self-awareness issue for me has been one. It is very difficult to maintain the connection to employees and to maintain that interaction in a remote environment. You know, the ability to walk down the hall and talk to someone, or walk to the neighborhood coffee shop with an employee. When I first started working at ITI, I made a commitment that I would go have coffee, take out every single employee to have coffee and talk about getting to know them and getting to know their lives, and hearing about their thoughts about how ITI can be better. And that's a great touch point and great ability to have that interaction. In a remote environment, it's more difficult to do that, but not impossible. So over the course of the last 8 weeks, I've had one-on-ones with every one of the 50 employees of ITI using video conferencing and making sure to check in with them. I've also made sure that as an organization that we're reminding employees that we care about them. So it may sound strange to say it, but we last Friday closed the office early. You can still close a virtual office even if nobody's in a physical office together, and just say it's time to close your laptop and go take advantage of the nice weather. We've also done things like send gift certificates to employees so they could order their favorite meal via takeout, take a break. This week we sent gourmet popcorn to all the employees and asked them to enjoy it with a movie and take a break from the work. So those kind of things are really, really important to remind employees that it's hard to draw that line between work and home. When you're working from home, there's no moment where you get up from your desk and turn your computer off and get in your car and drive home from the office. So we really try to encourage employees to maintain the work-life balance. These people have, in some cases, enormous challenges at home. Small children who are not in school, and no daycare or home care is available. So for working parents, this is a challenging time, and we want to reflect that and be understanding and empathetic. And that's what we're focused on.
Wow, I love those ideas that you shared. I mean, I think that really says a lot about you all and how well you're taking care of your employees, and even, which is very innovative, as all of you do, especially closing the office even on a Friday in a virtual way, telling people to take off. I think that's really remarkable. It's really great to hear that. So, and it feels like, Jason, you guys have, you've really maintained your being optimistic on, how we're going to move forward with this. So, if you were to share with everybody else on what that being optimistic looks like, what would you say?
I think being optimistic is about reflecting the focus on employees, as we've been discussing, and making sure that the team is energized and feels invested in and cared for. And the second part of it is remembering that for the business, for running the company, a focus on clients in this time requires checking in with them and making sure their needs are being met by the services or the products that are being provided. So in addition to having one-on-one conversations with all of our employees over the last 8 weeks, I've also talked to all of our member companies over the last 8 weeks and had one-on-one conversations with them to ask them how we can continue to be invaluable to our members in this challenging time that we face. And those conversations have led to our shifting focus in a number of the projects that we work on. New work streams to make sure we're addressing the critical needs of our member companies that are very different than they were 8 weeks ago. And the spirit of optimism that I have is a result of not only doing that inquiry to make sure we're doing what our members need us to be doing, but also getting feedback from members about what we're doing, what we need to be doing differently, and how we've done in being responsive to their needs. So I'm optimistic about the work the team is doing and the way in which it's being done. I'm also optimistic about our business prospects, because I feel good that we've been able to shift our focus in some cases or accentuate our focus in other cases to make sure we're meeting the critical business needs of our members so that they will continue investing in us as an important resource for them going forward.
Yeah, and I love the point where you highlighted not only almost that feedback component. I think is very important, because it feels like we're all in this together and everybody is learning differently and it's affecting everybody differently. So the fact that you all have incorporated that concept of getting feedback from your members, I think that is, or even your staff or everybody, that's really, really critical. And how about how have you been taking care of you yourself as a leader? Is there anything fun or different that you've been doing for yourself?
Yeah, there are four of us here in the house.
Okay.
Learning remotely, and we've incorporated some new routines, including a nightly board game where we rotate choosing the game to play, and that's been fun. It's really, despite the fact that there are four of us here in the house, we don't actually see each other during the much as we would not see each other during the day if we were working in at school. Everybody's in their own separate space and working on their own materials and staying up to speed on what they need to be doing. And then we gather together for a family meal at the end of the day. And then that game night is always fun to do as well. It is really important for all of us drawing that distinction between the work part of the day and the life part of the day. And that's how we do it.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing. I personally, I have had to move my office downstairs so I could have that work-life balance, so I could actually close my computer and enjoy my family upstairs after that. So that's great to hear. I love board games. So Jason, as we're wrapping up this conversation, and I really appreciate some of the insights that you've provided and taking this time. What vision do you have for all, as we move forward? What are the last words, or what is not the last words, obviously, but what vision do you have?
Yeah, we're in a time of unprecedented for most of us who are facing these business decisions that we have to make. Where it's unprecedented times, and I think the things that I've learned about how people adapt, how companies adapt, will really carry forward for months and even years to come. We know that we're in the midst of a health crisis right now. People are dying, are being hospitalized, are critically ill. Millions of Americans, tens of millions of Americans have lost their jobs. The economy is suffering, and the recovery from this is going to take years, not months. And we need to be prepared for the new reality of the workplace, the way in which we work, the physical space that we use to work, the way in which we embrace remote work is going to change, but also the way in which we do business is going to change in so many different aspects of our lives, ranging from the way we shop, the emphasis on e-commerce that we've seen in recent months, to the way we work, to the way we commute, with a focus on safe public transportation. All of those things are going to be big changes to how we live our lives. And I think they're things that we have, for better or worse, had great experience with. My biggest takeaway is that remote work works, and I expect we will continue to do so for some time.
Yeah, that's going to be a big shift for a lot of companies with the remote work. But, I have heard that people have been pretty productive, and it's I'm sure they'll do studies on why that productivity kind of went up, and maybe it could be the fact that people now maybe spending more family time, because and you mentioned that, Jason. You talked about you have really put your employees first, and ensuring their safety and ensuring that they're taken care of, and that obviously has amplified the productivity of how you all are working, how you are serving your members. And that's the reason why I was actually doing this check-ins, is to really, again, highlight and anchor the people behind all that, everything that's going on with organizations. Leaders are really holding it down, especially for an industry like yours in technology. I did a Google search. I was trying to find a webcam, and everything is sold out. So I'm sure your members that you guys serve are probably sending you guys questions left and right. So I appreciate your insights today. I really, really do, for taking the time to come out and at least have this chat with me. And I hope that we'll continue these conversations, even as things obviously are going to evolve and change. I would love to keep up and hear more what are some of those major shifts that we're going to try to have to make as we move forward. So thank you again so much for your time, and I hope that you get a chance today to actually go out and enjoy the weather as well, because it's a beautiful day.
Indeed, and I hope the same for you, Joyce. Thanks for the opportunity to have this great conversation with you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jason.